Welcome to a new year of Evan and Tiki, and our final time starting at 2 o'clock on Monday. It all begins at 10 a.m., but here we are, first show of 2026. And boy, nothing's changed. The Giants suck, the Jets suck. And I hate to say this because I love football. Football's an event. I can't wait for this season to end, Tiki.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I was just talking to Huffy in the hallway. He's like, "Are you excited for the year to be over?" And yes and no. No, because I love football. And I love watching football. I love evaluating football. I love studying the defenses and offenses and seeing how guys improve or don't improve, getting pissed off about it or getting elated about it. I love all of the things that come around football. But I also am tired of the grind emotionally of both of these teams. And it's gotten, look, for the Giants, there's something to look forward to because you have a quarterback. And you have some really good skill position players. And you have an edge rusher who's amazing. And another one who might be on his way to being a star. But no coach. You look at the Jets.
We have nothing.
I don't even know what to say.
No, you can say it. We have nothing.
I don't know what to say. And I want to support Aaron Glenn. I really do. But, dude, you always talked about it. And Sean and I brought this up last week when you were out. Sometimes it takes a special level of ineptitude.
Yeah.
In order to get rid of a guy after one season. It's not there, and it's not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen. He deserves to come back for another year. But like the frustrations that every fan in this town that loves and watch football has felt this year is real, and it's not going to be forgotten.
No, this has been painful. And let me start with this Glenn thing, because a week and a half ago, the last time I was on the air, I was very passionate, straight from my soul, to tell you that as bad as this year has been, it would be foolish for the Jets to get rid of him.
Right.
But,
I agree with that.
Thank you. But you quoted me 10 seconds ago, and I have said this many times before, which is to get fired after 1 year, whether you're a general manager or you're a head coach, takes a special kind of awfulness. I would be blind and naive to not admit that the New York Jets, especially over this last month, and especially on Sunday, hit a very special kind of awfulness. And so I spent the last week and a half not only bonding with my family, not only thinking about the holidays, but I have been going back and forth on the Aaron Glenn stuff. Because I heard what Joe said on Monday. I hear what a lot of Jet fans say, which is he's got to go. It's hit that special kind of awfulness.
Yep.
I still can't do it, though.
Why?
The reason I can't do it is because people love to bring up examples. I love to bring up examples. And one of the examples you get is the New England Patriots, one of the best teams in the NFL, a team with a real chance to go to the Super Bowl. And the answer is, well, they had a Patriot legend who they fired after 1 year. Here's the difference, and I'm not even going to bring up Drake May. The difference was Mike Vrabel. The difference was there was a guy waiting in the wings who could change everything.
An easy get. Waiting
Absolutely.
In the wings.
And so my message to my fellow Jet fans is I'm not going to sell you on Aaron Glenn because I'd try to be selling you on like crap because he's had an awful first year. But there is no easy answer. And I'd rather give it a try in year two and hope all the negatives were just year one and trading two of your best players in the middle of the season and not having a good enough roster. I'd rather take that gamble than get rid of him and then probably hire another first-time coach because that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like when the Denver Broncos fired your guy, Nate Hackett, who'd they replace him with? Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. There is no Sean Payton.
And by the way, Sean Payton was kind of waiting out there.
Yes.
Right? He wasn't coaching. He was what was he, working for Fox or one of those?
He was doing TV.
He had taken a leave of absence away from the New Orleans Saints. Now, it was complicated because they had to trade for Sean Payton.
Right.
But there was the guy. He was interested, and he was waiting to be hired.
So when anyone says, but Evan, look at these other examples of first-time head coaches, they got fired. Okay. Tell me who's waiting in the wings to take this garbage job.
Well,
being serious, this garbage job with an owner that no one trusts.
Evan, there'd be a lot of people waiting in the wings because it's the head coaching job in the NFL. But is it anybody you'd want? Probably not.
No, here's what it would be. I'm going to give everybody a spoiler alert. It would be another first-time head coach you're taking a gamble on.
Right.
That's what it would be. And maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. None of us know. Maybe Woody Johnson gets lucky. There is that saying that the blind squirrel finds a nut eventually, or that the broken clock is right twice a day. That's where they'd be going. They're not hiring Mike Tomlin. They're not hiring John Harbaugh. They're not even going to hire Mike McCarthy. So As I've sat here thinking about the awfulness of the Jets season and the awfulness of the embarrassing way it's concluded and how bad of a job Aaron Glenn has done, and he has done a bad job. I'm not going to defend it. I still don't think the alternative of getting rid of him after 1 year is really the right answer.
You know, I'm just thinking about that idiom you just used. Even the blind squirrel finds a nut.
That was used correctly, by the way.
It was.
Thank you.
But let's think about that for a second. If you're a squirrel and you're in a forest, you're going to find a nut without even trying.
Are there that many nuts?
100%. Have you not seen the nuts falling around the trees in your neighborhood? They're every freaking where.
So you're not that impressed by a blind squirrel finding the nut?
I'm just not impressed by that idiom anymore.
Well, hold on. What
For
if the
some
blind
reason
squirrel
you just said it, and now I'm like, I walk on these damn things all day long walking my dog. Of course a blind squirrel's got to find a nut. It's not even that damn hard.
Tiki, what if the blind squirrel is in Arizona and they're not in the middle of a forest, though?
Well, are there squirrels in there?
There's squirrels every state.
I don't. But why would squirrels be living in Arizona in the urban sprawl that has become Arizona?
Have you felt the weather here?
I know that, but squirrels like to hibernate. They like to sleep.
Yeah,
so they want it to be cold.
Squirrels aren't birds that fly south for the winter.
Do you think there's a lot of nuts in Flushing when the squirrels are walking around there? How about that?
Probably.
I personally like the broken clock idiom a lot better anyway.
Yes.
Because it's so accurate and so simple and so true. If my clock is broken, well, and it's stuck on 2:15 and it doesn't move, well, guess what? In 8 minutes, it's going to be right.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, there's 60 minutes in an hour. So for that broken clock to be right once an hour, it's 1 out of 60.
Right.
For it to be right twice or once throughout a day, hold on a second.
Forget it. Just drop it.
Forget it. The point is, if Woody Johnson is truly a broken clock, then the odds of them finding this great replacement after getting rid of Aaron Glenn after 1 year is probably not going to happen.
No, it's not high. The likelihood of finding a veteran, someone who's had success somewhere else, that's sitting around doing nothing and is willing and able to take this job is not very high.
And here's what makes it worse. And I hate myself.
Except for Mike McCarthy.
Right. Here's what I hate myself about. I never wanted to be the person as a fan who says I don't want to fire a coach or a manager because the alternatives are worse. I always figure once you know the guy isn't the answer, you should move on. Here's where I'm at with Aaron Glenn. I'm probably 70% sure he's not the answer. I can't say 100%. We know the issues the Jets have had.
Right.
We know the issues with their roster. We know about the quarterback situation. We know about all of it. So I can't say 100%. I can say he had an awful first year. I could say that his Monday and Sunday press conferences earlier this week were a problem.
Right.
Like, to me, you can't say your team quit and then come back 24 hours later and say, I was just kidding. I didn't look close enough. That reeks of a guy who doesn't have a backbone.
Well, it also reeks of a guy who were you watching? You weren't out there coaching and not paying attention.
Right.
You were watching. You saw it. We all saw it in real time.
And you said what you said, so stick by it.
You didn't have a stop the entire game.
It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassingly bad is what it was. And at some points it was effort. Some points it felt incompetence. But Aaron Glenn has had a messaging issue. It's not a problem yet, but he's had a messaging issue all season long because at the very beginning, he was trying to be this defiant, I'm a badass, I played football, I know what I'm talking about, how dare you question me? And then he started bringing some levity into it.
Right.
And, making fun of Rich Cimini. Rich Cimini knows more than I do, and blah, blah, blah. And it got... That was the good little patch of communication because it made the fan forgive him a little bit for some of the ineptitude.
You know what? No one made us forgive them. They won and they looked better.
Yes.
They were trending in the right direction.
Right. They won a couple of games and it was like, all right, whatever. You're still going to stink this year, but you know what? At least there's some pride.
Right.
What you talked about. I want a team that my fans can be proud of. No team is proud of a team that gives up a 107-point differential in December.
They had one of the worst Decembers in the history of football.
100%. And they still don't have an interception. Defensively.
I can't believe this.
Defensively.
We are doing our first show of 2026 and they still have not forced an interception.
Right.
How's that freaking possible?
It's not possible. It's not. They're going to set an NFL historic record that can never be broken, only tied.
That's a good way to look at it. By the way, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to get an interception week 18. And that's the other problem. So
maybe Josh, if they're up by 20, maybe Josh would just throw in, here's a gimme, guys.
Is Josh even playing on Sunday?
I don't know.
I mean,
whoever's playing, here's a gimme, guys.
He's not even playing on Sunday.
I don't want you guys to go into the offseason thinking you suck that bad.
The other problem I have, in which, and I've tried to go back and forth on this because as a Jet fan, all I want to do is win. I'm so sick of losing. I'm so sick of these shows beginning New Year's in which we talk about how they're better off losing and the draft and tanking and how hopeless the future is. Like, I am so sick of it. I want to win, man. I want to win. I want to be competitive. Like, I think my goal at the beginning of the year wasn't even to make the playoffs. It was be relevant going into December and January, and the Jets are a million miles away from that. But when you talk about firing this head coach after 1 year, you also have to remember not only did those organizations, the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos, have ready-made answers waiting in the wings, they were also functioning franchises.
Right.
So where Bob Kraft gets rid of Gerard Mayo after 1 year, no one's looking at the Patriots and saying, wow, they're a joke. Even the Broncos, they weren't a joke.
Right. And they weren't good, but they weren't a joke.
Right. They just had a bad year or bad years. The Jets are a joke. We're the worst franchise in sports. Like, seriously.
And the players say so. It's not just us.
The players know it.
Not just the fans and the media.
Everyone knows it. And I'm talking all sports. And I defy anybody to come up with a baseball team or a hockey team or a basketball team that is more pathetic for the last decade and a half than this football team. If you fire this guy after 1 year, as much as he deserves to because of how bad this year was, what's next?
The same.
It's worse.
Yes.
It's worse because guys are not going to want this job.
And it's also because Aaron Glenn is qualified for the job, right? From a historical, how do you hire a head coach? Aaron Glenn is qualified. He worked his way. He became a defensive coordinator for a really good team that struggled early in Detroit, eventually figured it out, had one of the top defenses in football, and fit the part, right? Former player, has the attitude, has the right mindset, makeup, intelligent, all that stuff, can speak it to the players. He's the guy. So now you're going to go try to find another guy just like him. It won't work for the Jets. So the bottom line of all of this, as we've been talking about it for the last 15 minutes, is Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach of the New York Jets in 2026. It's just, how is he going to be different? How is the staff going to be different? And because maybe that's part of it. The staff obviously is going to be different. Steve Wilkes is not here.
He already screwed up at D.C., and that got me to this other thing, which is, and this has been a very good question that many have asked over the last few weeks. I think I even asked the question, too, before things got worse, which is, what's the good of Aaron Glenn in year one that you can build on? Where have the Jets gotten better? Where have they gotten worse? And obviously, the record speaks for itself on how bad it is. December speaks for itself. The quarterback decisions, the mistake you just mentioned of hiring Steve Wilkes and then getting rid of him after the first year is over. So I did put like a pro and con list together the other day of the positives of Glenn and the negatives. And I ain't gonna lie to you, the negatives far outweigh the positives, but there are a few positives. Number one, the penalty issue is not quite as bad as it was a year ago.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, their special teams has been tremendous. And Chris Banjo, we brought in,
fantastic,
has done an outstanding job.
Right. He's been the best part of this Jet season.
Absolutely. And we need to be fair and at least give Aaron Glenn, I don't know, a little bit of credit for that.
100%.
Now, the problem is, that's pretty much it. Oh, I got one other positive. Upon making the Sauce and Quinnen trade, it didn't go downhill immediately. They fought, they clawed, and they won some games.
Right.
And something needs to be said for that, because you made a big deal a couple of years ago about how damaging it would be to the Giants to trade Saquon in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Well, the Jets did it.
Yeah.
They basically did what you told the Giant fans, watch out, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And at first they survived it.
They did, and then they absolutely didn't. By the way, the Sauce trade turned out to be somewhat prescient because Sauce is a shell. He's not been good. And he's been hurt.
Do you know Sauce Gardner has played in 11 games this season? Do you know what his record is? Like his personal record?
With
1 in 10.
1 in 10. Wow.
Sauce has been worse than the Jets.
Wow, that's bad.
Sauce would get the number one pick.
Yeah, now, with that being said, Quinnen's been awesome in Dallas.
He's been tremendous.
Their defense still stinks, but it's not his fault.
Evan, I think you might be slightly off. The stat is Sauce Gardner became the first player in NFL history to go 1-7 separately with two different teams in one season.
No, I looked it up in his game log. He was 1 in 10. So I don't know what stat you're looking. I just went to his game logs to see what his record was.
This was on the NFL broadcast last week.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just looked at his game logs. It says 1 in 10. So you're telling me it's worse? How could it be 1 in 14?
No, 2 and
It was whatever it is. He's replicated the same record he had with the Jets with the Colts.
2-14.
So maybe it's not games he played in. He's been on the Colts, so they're.
Oh, I got you. Like being on the team.
Yes.
I'm just talking about games he's played.
You know why? Because he missed the game when he hurt his Achilles, whatever it was. His calf.
I got to be fair to Sauce. I can't include games that he didn't play.
Yeah.
I'm just including when he was on the
missed
field.
2 games, 3 games, or whatever it was. That's why. That's why the number is just off by 3.
Either way, poor Sauce.
Yeah. I mean, poor Sauce.
But it was difficult to have to keep this team afloat upon making those trades. And I know these are small things. And again, I'm not trying to sell any Jet fan that this guy's the next Vince Lombardi. It's just that I think the decision to get rid of him causes more damage to the franchise than the decision to keep him. Because let's say they keep him. And everyone out there in the audience right now is right. He's not the guy. He sucks. And they fire him after year 2. Okay.
Right.
Then we're the same Jet team we've been for the last 15 years.
Yeah, nothing changes.
As opposed to, I think, making your franchise even more pathetic in the eyes of everyone around.
Well, here's the thing. If you have another year that's like this in 2026, you're already starting to see it. You see it from Giant fans, see it from Jet fans. They don't want to go anymore. Right, you're going to start losing the fan base.
I think they're already there.
Certainly, but there's still a handful of, not handful, but there's a good number that still want to go.
Yeah.
At some point, people are just going to say, "Why am I even going?"
But I don't think that firing the coach is going to change that.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just talking about you have to find a way to get it right.
Well, of course. They got to become a functional franchise. Like, it is embarrassing that we're sitting here again on January 2nd talking about how bad our football teams
and
are.
who the quarterback is going to be. Is it Fernando Mendoza? Now, he beat the crap out of the Alabama Crimson Tide, which was fantastic.
And he looked great, Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, he did. But it was not like he was threw for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns.
I was pretty impressed by Trinidad Chambliss, if you ask me.
I was kind of more impressed by Trinidad Chambliss, to be honest with you.
You know what,
I think he's going to stay in school.
But what I'm about to tell you is why, as a Jet fan, I'm so conflicted with all of these discussions. I just told you why I would keep Aaron Glenn, and a lot of it is based on what it does to the franchise to get rid of this guy after 1 year.
Yeah.
But I'm about to give him the biggest rip possible, and I think everyone will agree with me on this.
What's that?
As I'm watching all the college football over the last few days, and clearly my focus is just watching the quarterbacks and thinking about them.
That's all that matters.
Okay, I watch Trinidad Chambliss, and I say, is Aaron Glenn and Tanner Engstrand going to be the guys that turn him into a starting caliber winning quarterback in the NFL? Right. Same with Dante Moore. Same with all of them. And the answer I always come up with is, no, how the hell could I trust them? How could I trust them? And that sucks.
The problem is, look who they've tested it on. It's Brady Cook.
Well, it's Justin Fields, though. You can't just forget that.
Yeah, but Justin Fields is, I don't know.
They brought him in.
I worry about Justin Fields' desire to be great. Because you see it in moments, right? There was the first game of the season against Pittsburgh. It was like, man, this dude is throwing some rockets. This looks like a guy who's going to figure it out as this season goes on. And then you get some of these duds where it looked like he wasn't even trying. And so what causes that? I went on this, not rant, but this is just a recollection of what it took for me to fall in love with the game of football. And it was having success. As soon as you get successful, it's like, man, this is awesome. This feels amazing. You see those fans cheering for me? This is awesome. You see my boys picking me up and patting me up? This is awesome. That's what made me fall in love with it. I don't know how he falls in love with the game. I
think you may be right, but nevertheless, this front office and this head coach decided to bring him in.
Yes.
So I have to hold them accountable for it. And that's the problem with this whole Aaron Glenn discussion. Half of me wants to destroy him for 45 minutes, but then the other half of me says, but they're still not better off firing him. It's this weird spot to be in, and that's the state of the New York Jets. It's a horrible place. In fact, I'd argue I've never been a part of a franchise in a worse spot than the New York Jets are in right now. We'll get your calls coming up, 888-808-1019, plus the state of the New York Football Giants.